Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So first off, I just want to thank everybody for stopping by yesterday and watching the video that I made on Ready or Not. Let me go over here. It actually had quite a bit of engagement, had a lot of views, had a lot of comments, had a lot of likes and dislikes. And I'm someone that, as long as I'm getting people, engaging with my content, even if it's negative, like they don't like the content or they leave a comment saying that my views are dumb, I still appreciate that anyway, so just thank you for everybody who stopped by and watched that video and actually listened to what I had to say. Now, today I want to talk about, clarifying my position on the censorship thing, because I feel like yesterday I got more into the weeds of what the censorship was, and I just wanted to clarify a few things. So, first off, I do not fault Void Interactive for having to censor the game for console. This has happened in the gaming industry before. Two examples that I can think of right off the top of my head is The Punisher on PS2 and Xbox had to add a filter over the game during the interrogation scenes because it was deemed too violent to put on console. And then also Manhunt 2 back in 2008 had to do the same thing with the executions. They had to put a filter over the screen while the executions happened because it was said to be too violent. So I don't fault Void for that at all. My main contention is with the PC version. Why do PC players have to have the same censorship when it's the console manufacturers that are, demanding that the game be censored to put on a console? That shouldn't affect the PC players at all. Now, their reasoning for this is because it would make crossplay harder or create a forked version of the game where one has the original assets and the other one has the assets removed or altered. I don't think this has to be the case because, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a developer, I haven't made a video game, I've barely done any coding myself, so this could be inaccurate, just let me know. But when it comes to things like assets, they can be handled client side, and then only the necessary data is sent over the server to connect with the other players. So of course, yes, the dismemberment would be the big one that would be hard to do because the PC version would be rendering all of the, stuff that you can do with the corpses, while the console version wouldn't. This would create issues where the positioning of the corpses and all that stuff is different on the PC version, and it can't really send that data over to the console. So I understand that. I still think that the PC version shouldn't be changed. So that's one that, yes, I understand that would be very difficult to do. The one that I don't get is the nudity and the changing of specifically the child in that one that is unconscious, and the console version or in the after the patch they're going to be just unconscious, and before it was more like a seizure from an overdose. That sort of thing. The games could be playing two different animations depending on the platform and just syncing the data of the positioning of the asset. And I don't understand why that would be a difficult thing to do. Again, I'm not a developer, so I don't know, but I've been in the Steam forums and a lot of people have said that Unreal Engine 5 can handle that sort of thing very well. And yeah, I would just love one of the developers or something to comment down below and tell me why this would be a monumental task. And again, my thing is, even if that is the case, disable crossplay or at the very least, maintain two versions of the game. And I know that's asking you to do more work. I understand that. I'm not oblivious to the fact that, yes, it is going to require some, work on your part to maintain essentially two different, versions of the assets of the game. I get it. However, I think that that's the right thing to do for your customers who bought the game on PC because, again, having censorship for the PC version because of console manufacturers, it doesn't sit right with me. I don't think it sits right with a lot of the people that supported the game early on. And yeah, that's my main point of contention. I wasn't even necessarily mad that they had to censor the game for console. I mean, I was upset, of course, at Sony and Microsoft or whoever had those, arbitrary distinctions of what they had to change. Yes, I'm not happy about that, but I understood it because, again, it's been happening in the industry for forever. But I was still going to buy the console version even after that. It's learning that they're going to change the, PC version because of the console, the console manufacturers wanted the game to be censored. No, just no. I'm sorry, no. Um, that's not the only thing with Void Interactive, though. There are some other things that I don't like that they've been doing. So they've been removing certain features, like over here, the safety on the guns. I remember that being in the early access. They did remove that, and then they also removed the different game modes on the map. So they removed bomb defusal, active shooter. I also believe they removed hostage rescue on certain maps. They also removed maps. So them removing and changing content isn't anything new. They've been doing that for a while, and then also switching from Unreal Engine 4 to 5. I wasn't a fan of that because, well, again, I have a very old computer. This is like a mid-range PC back in 2015. So 10 years ago, this wasn't even a top-of-the-line computer. I don't expect it to run the newest games, but Ready or Not ran fine in early access. It was after they made the switch to Unreal Engine 5 that I couldn't play the game anymore. That's why I only have 10 to 12 hours of it on Steam. And all of that, or all but like 2 hours of that, was with the early access build. So yeah, I'm going to go down and read what I put on Steam for my review, and I also put it in a forum post as well. So let me go over to my account and look at my reviews. So, I was someone who bought into the early access build. Unfortunately, the devs removed modes and the performance of the game significantly tanked after 1.0. Again, that's because of the switch from Unreal Engine 4 to 5. I know I have a potato PC at this point, so I was willing to wait for a console release until I could get the cash for a new PC. Now, with the censorship, I want this game refunded out of my account. I'm done. The game has already had to compromise before, changing the setting of the skull level. However, that was before the content was even in the game. And a developer tried to say that the skull level was always supposed to be like it is in the final release. I don't think that's true at all, especially if you go back and watch the initial trailer of the game. It's very clear that it was supposed to be more based around like an elementary or middle school than a high school or college. So, yeah, to me, that's just gaslighting. But yeah, okay. Censoring and changing content already in the game is just a no-go. Or I say just no-go. It's just a no-go. If you need to censor to put on consoles, then disable crossplay and maintain 2 versions of the game. This game was special because it portrayed the gritty reality of these situations. Censoring even a little is already bad to begin with, but some of the changes, like the child's animation in the drug den, significantly impacts the atmosphere and horror of the setting. I know this is just adding on to the pile of mounting criticism, but I'm seriously disappointed with the developers of this game, as well as Sony and Microsoft for their ridiculous standards. It's such a shame that developers won't even stand by their product. Again, I'm not asking them to not make a console version. I'm not even asking them to push for the content to be in the console version. Again, it's unfortunate that it had to be removed, but I understand. It's, the ESRB, it's Sony and Microsoft. I get it. That's not on Void Interactive. Again, my main thing is, why are you changing the PC version when it's the console manufacturers that demand those changes? So yeah, that's what I wanted to clarify in this video. I might go and do another video sometime later going over some of the actual Steam forum posts. I did see that Vara Dark had a video on this and actually read that, well, not the review version, but what I posted in the forums, read that, passage that I just read. And yeah, it's nice to see that so many people actually take this seriously. A lot of people say it's blown out of proportion. I don't think it is, because again, it makes no sense for PC players to have their game altered in any way to fit on a console. Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't. But yeah, that's about it. Like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video, comment down below and let me know what you think about this situation. And yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next video.